Hey, welcome. This video again is to help you with creating your Tinkercad design for your orthographic sketches for your clock. So here in eighth grade, we're making the clocks that are going to be 12 inches in diameter and ½ inch thick. So I'm going to help walk through how you can use Tinkercad to create this sketch so you can do your screenshots of the design you make. Okay, so let's go to dashboard and let's go ahead and start a new project. So new and then 3D design. Very good. So remember, this video is a tutorial video. You can interact with it. You can pause the video. You can rewind. You can move forward, whatever it is to help you with this. But use this as a resource for you. So let's go ahead and get everything set up. I'm going to move myself out of the way here. First thing we need to do is change the name. So we're going to do wall clock singer. Just put your last name, not singer. And then we're going to create our settings. So you want to make sure you're set your defaults to inches. And then we want to have our space. Normally we'll have it set for 3D40, 3D45 because that's the 3D printers we use. We're not actually 3D printing this. We're just creating a CAD design that someone can use to show what it looks like. So I want to change my width just a little bigger than the space we're doing. Since we're doing a 12-inch diameter clock, let's do 13. 13 width, 13 length. We're going to make that our default. And there's our workspace. Voila. That's what we're going to work with. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is remember our wall clocks are going to be a circle. So we're going to do the easy part of showing our circle piece. So we're going to be using one solid piece of wood. If you are doing multiple woods for some reason, you want to challenge yourself above and beyond, you're going to want to create a different a way to make this clock look. We can help you with that. If you're using a shape that's not a circle because you got approval to do something different from myself or Mr. Harris, you're going to have to find a way to bring in an SVG file that shows the shape of that, like a car or elephant or whatever you're going to create. So let's just go with the basics here. So I'm going to click the corner node, and we're going to change that 1 to a 12, tab 12. So there's our circle diameters. That in our workspace. And again, we're not working with a 1-inch piece of wood. It's going to be a ½ inch. So change that to 0.5. Okay, now the other thing too is I want to make our color look somewhat like the wood we're going to use. I think I'm going to use a real light color wood. So I'm going to use a light color stain. This is kind of like the traditional pecan color. So that's our circle piece, which is great, but now we have to show our clock face on here. So I'm going to pull up our Google site, our Fab Lab site, and the reason I'm doing this is because there is a link under our resources that shows you how to convert files, which is right here. So again, when you're doing this, you're going to need to be on the desktops because the desktops will allow you to download a file as long as you log into it using the PLTW username that we have. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to open up is I'm going to just Google search clock face. Okay, I'm going to look for clock faces that I like. Okay, so I'm going to look for something really simple. I like this one that has the numbers. Real simple. I'll get myself out of the way here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to click Save Image As. And I can't use this one because it's a WEBP file. So I'm going to have to find another one that looks similar. Again, this is just a sketch, so it's not too big of a deal. Actually, this one's nice with the lines there. What if I click Save Image As here? WEP file. Great. Come on, help me out here, please. Something's got to work. Save Image As. There we go, a JPEG file. So I'm going to save that into my downloads. It's this really long name, but that's okay. That's all I really need to know. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from a JPEG file to an SVG converter. So I'm going to click on that link from our FabLab website. So I'm going to go here to drop files. Remember, it's in my downloads. Here's the long name. I'm going to click start now that you see that the thing's downloaded. So it's going to take a little bit to download the file and convert it. You see it's processing. So now it's in SVG. So I'm just going to click download. And it's going to download right to my computer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Tinkercad and I'm going to go here to where it says import. So I'm going to choose the file that's an SVG file now. So if I don't know which one's which on here, if I scroll over, it's going to tell me which one is the SVG file, which is right here, the new one. Okay, I'm going to click import. And if it's too big, it'll tell you to shrink it down. You just have to shrink it. Just change the one vector to 1,000. So here's our look. You can see it's way too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click Shift on the keyboard and shrink it down. And then I am going to lay that on top of the clock. But as you can see, you can't see it. So we're just going to drag it up. Okay. I'm going to drag it up so it's right on top. I'm going to hit here, the zoom it in, right on top of the clock right there so I can see it. Okay, that's pretty. So I'm going to actually be laser engraving this, remember? So I'm going to make that a hole. So it's going to cut out of my rendering on here. So I want to make sure everything is completely centered. So I'm going to highlight both things. I'm going to click L for center. And I'm just going to click the two center nodes here and make sure it's completely centered. I was pretty close, but now it's all the way in. So if I zoom in now and I look at it from the side, I can see that my piece needs to be embedded into the wood a little bit. So I'm going to go down just one tab, and you can see we have a little bit up and a little bit down. That's exactly what I want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight both parts again, and I'm going to click this grouping button, and there's my clock. Okay, if I really, this is all basic what we're looking for, but we got to remember that our clock is also going to have the clock hands. So we're going to make some real simple clock pieces. I'm going to go here to search. I'm going to look for an arrow. Arrows work really well. Here's a real simple arrow we can use, or we can use this one. But I'm going to use this real simple arrow right here. I'm going to drag it here, and again, I'm going to use the arrow to lift it up. Put it on top of our design there. And the arrow is going to be needing to be right off that center piece. And we're going to just change the dimensions a little bit. So I'm going to change this one to be, I want this to be the minute hand. So I'm going to make this 3 inches long. And then tab, I'm going to make it a 1/2 inch, 0.5 inch wide. Make sure it's centered. And then I'm going to copy and paste. And I'm going to make sure that it lines up in that same spot there. And I'm going to grab this ruler and just kind of turn it. I have to move it anyways. We're going to put it there. And this one we're just going to make a little longer. So I'm going to click on the arrow. And I'm just going to stretch it out a little further over the number. There we go. And now I got my clock looking the way it is. I got our hands on there, got a face. If you want to add other details to this, like a design that you're going to put on there of maybe like a Brewers logo or a Fox River logo or something like that to your clock, we don't need that on here necessarily. That's going to be in your brainstorm, so we can check your brainstorm for what you have there. So I'm not too worried about that being included, but this does show us your clock and your basic clock face. So last thing that we're going to do is we're going to highlight this. We're going to make sure it's all grouped. And now that it's all grouped, you see the minute hands aren't exactly attached, so it's no big deal. Now we're good to go for what we need for our orthographic sketch on your clock packet. So you'll be scrolling down here to click on the link of this video, which you could click the link within the link. That's kind of cool. But again, all we need is we need a top view. You need your front view. You need your right view and your isometric in the corner. If you got any questions as you're putting this together, see myself or Mr. Harris, and we'll be glad to help you get this done so we can get you in the shop and get you actually making your project. Well, we'll have to get you on the computers and doing the CNC work, but then we'll get you in the shop. All right, we'll talk to you later.